So today we're going to play with a little bit of toys today. If you have been with my classes in physical terms, you might have seen these toys in particular. We are going to use some balls. You don't have to have a peanut ball. Perhaps you have just one. It can be just a single, toy ball that sometimes you have with your children, like these ones. It could be, if you have two of them, then you can stuff it in a sock like I did and just tie a knot on it really, really tight so it stays sort of together. It works a little bit better when it's a pair because we're going to work on the back. This is also, something we're going to do for when we sit a lot. That these days we're hunching in the table, maybe sitting in the kitchen, my friend said, that we're just doing this, and we need to have a lot of openness, and it really helps to have these massages that we do on ourselves. And if you have a foam roller, some of us have it, you can use this as well. I'll show you alternatives. And I suggest you to have a chair. This is a really good tool. And I might ask you to move to a different place if using a chair doesn't work with the opening of the shoulder. But we'll come to that. And lastly, if you have blocks or maybe you have dictionaries, books, anything like that that's a bit firm, a bit kind of around this kind of size, that's perfect. And in fact, we're going to start with using the ball and the block or the book or whatever it is that you have. And since you might have a pair, you might start with a pair. I'm just going to use the pair here to show you. And we're going to put the block just sort of on the side of your ribs. And noticing it's not too low, it's not in your waistline. It's somewhere when you poke in, you can kind of feel the bony part. It's quite high up. And there's a big muscle around the size of the hand, kind of hugs around, just underneath the armpit where a woman's bar strap is, and kind of hugs in here. And it connects to your shoulder, and that's where we're gonna start. So with that information, grab your ball, and we're gonna just place it underneath the side of the ribs. And yes, it will be uncomfortable. If you have one, you can just use one, same place, right? And if this having something underneath feels a bit too much, you can actually just remove block or the book that you had and just lie straight with your rib on top of it. If this proves to be a little bit too hard, lean backwards or forward, just easing off of it a little bit. Alternatively, blanket over the ball can soften this pressure as well. And I like to keep my head lifted with my hand underneath my face. That keeps the weight a bit lighter, so it's not as intense. When you arrive, just find a kind of softness. So it's not exactly just rubbing straight away. We're trying to get the body to get used to being here first, the pressure, where you feel the pressure right now. And getting used to taking really deep breaths while you're under that pressure, that soreness. It's very important when we want to mobilize to open the body that we breathe deep, as deeply as we can. And if you begin to feel this breath starting to loosen up, your body is starting to loosen up, you can start to rock just lightly forward and back. And how you feel here really depends on how you use your body. Like everybody has a pattern. Sometimes we build up a lot of tension in these areas without noticing. And as you begin to move more, maybe the sensation is starting to switch a bit. It feels less intense and you can move a little bit more vigorously further forward and back. And sometimes it will be that the spot that you're at right now no longer needs it and you can move it a little further up or down. So we're still trying to find the feeling that you're massaging this muscle. Feel a little sore. And still remembering to soften your face, your jaws, and breathe deeply as we can. And now move that ball a little further up to the place just behind your armpit. So it's the back side of your shoulder. You're gonna lean back onto it. When you feel that, if you got the right place, it will be rather sore and rather intense. And I like to rest my head and just move my arm, bending the elbow, just moving the arm up and down. Noticing if you hold tension because of the sensation. Can you soften more? And every time you feel like you're holding something, you're not letting go, stop, pause, slow down, and breathe. Now from here, we're moving the ball to the side, and we're just gonna lie right on the right side. Bending at the elbow, grab the hand just on the base of your skull. And instead of letting everything hunch, pull the skin of your neck upwards and relax your shoulder away from the hand. And with your leg, straighten both of your legs. And you want to make sure your elbow, your chest, your hips, and your feet are kind of on the same line. And flex the feet so it feels like you need to use a little bit of effort to stay. Now opposite hand in front of you and just lean forward a touch so you feel that the pressure is pressing on the side of your hips. And perhaps even checking how it feels in this armpit. Press your armpit down against the mat and very lightly pull the mat towards yourself without actually moving. So you feel your armpit starting to activate, your shoulder starting to activate. And I like to lean and play with the angle. Leaning forward more, you might feel more in the front of your armpit, the chest, maybe even the inner side of the arm. And back more will be a slightly different sensation, a bit more strength-like. So play with that. I'm just taking 2 more breaths right here. From here, releasing the arm, let the head rest. And we're gonna roll and come onto our knees, facing your chair. And take a moment here, feeling so the space in your underarm, maybe comparing them, compare notes, left side and right side. And we're gonna do a little puppy press. And with a chair, there's different height that you can choose. It really depends on your openness. Just level 1, keep your hands about shoulder width or as wide as your chair is. Push your arm forward as best as you can. It feels as though your shoulder is coming away from your hips. And from here, keep drawing your belly in, draw your hips backwards. So you're really making length, a lot of length. From here, looking forward, just a touch. So you feel your upper back starting to activate. And just think about spreading your armpit as you lower your armpit down to the direction of the floor. They don't have to go very far at all. And we want this tension to be in your underarm area. You know, just where your tricep, your inner arm start to your armpit into your chest. And for some of us, you might feel a pinch in your upper shoulder. And if you are one of those people, my suggestion is to come up, find either the frame of a door or, like me, a door on your closet. And you just pull up. And as you pull up, pull your shoulders away from it, the opposite side, and down lightly. So you feel the front shoulder, the front of the armpit starting to get a sense of stretch. And we don't want anything in the top of the shoulder once again. Right, so we're gonna start with the right side, no matter which way you are. I'm gonna go a little high up. That gives me a little bit more opening. Stretch back, reach your shoulders forward. And if you have space, draw your shoulders down. Just as a extra, your free hand, grab hold of your back of the shoulder. I'm just gonna show you on this side. And you're just gonna turn, and it's almost like you're trying to pull the meat of your shoulders downwards, and you feel a little bit more intense of a sensation in your armpit, right? I'm gonna stay about 5 breaths more here. Keep drawing your hips back, keep reaching your shoulder forward, a little bit active. And notice how you breathe, deep breaths. Really deep breath in your armpit each time. And really deep breath out. And deep breath in the armpit. And deep breath out. And last 2 here. Good. And slowly floating yourself back up. Releasing your hands. Maybe give it a little wag. A little turn. Any shape that suits you. And we're gonna massage the opposite side of the ribs. And I'm gonna turn this way so you can see what's going on. And I'm gonna do it this side with just one so you can see. And once again, this the rather high up part of your ribs. And go ahead and play with it. Where? Hands under supporting the neck, the head. Alternatively, you can also rest your head down. A bit more restful, but a bit more heavy, a bit stronger. Once again, play with your breathing first, making sure you can breathe as deeply as you can despite what you perceive as a strong sensation, perhaps a bit like pain. Relax your jaw as you breathe out. If you have space, if you feel comfortable to do rocking yourself forward and back. And once again, if you feel that things are moving, you're feeling a bit more soft, move the ball up or down. It's a rather big area that we can work with, all this tissue, fascia, and muscles. And we're trying to find a sensation that feels like when you're getting a massage, the masseuse is just grabbing the soreness, but in a good way, not in sort of a pain that makes you feel like you're gonna break. And once again, we're moving your ball further up and towards the back side of your shoulder. And you can move it kind of a little bit up and down until you find, a real delicious soreness. Resting your head down, you can rest it onto a little pillow or a little block if you have one. And move this arm. Up and down towards your legs and away from the leg. So we're rotating this arm. Good. Now from here, removing the ball and coming just onto your elbow. Hands underneath your skull. Flex your feet and keep your body straight. And we'll add onto it, lifting the skin of your neck up towards your face and relax the shoulder. And maybe even think about you're trying to extend your tailbone back. So instead of sticking your butt and relax your thighs, think about you trying to draw your tailbone through your inner thigh and forward and in towards your stomach. So it feels like you're drawing your belly in. It feels like your buttock has to squeeze a little bit. And lean forward just a touch. Once again, playing with pressing your left elbow down. How does that feel? Where do you feel this? What happens if you keep your shoulder heavy and grab the mat just lightly towards yourself with this elbow? A little bit of active resistance, the traction. It really builds a lot of flexibility and a lot of mobility when we do it like this. We're just gonna do 2 more breaths right here. Now resting your head down softly, bend the knees to press yourself up. And once again, facing the chair on your knees. And choosing the height, the variation, chair, back of the chair, or maybe the closet. Put both hands onto it first. Reach your arms forward. Feel your shoulders starting to open up, your hips back as far back as you can. So you want to have a feeling of pulling. So it feels like the skin of your back starting to open up. Ooh. And option, free hand to grab hold of the back of your shoulder and just very lightly turn it down. Ooh. Maybe even lift your head just a touch, looking into your hand. And deep breath into your armpit each time. And just the last 3 breaths here. And slowly easing off. Releasing your hands and just feel that. Maybe feeling a little emptiness, spaciousness in your armpit. And now we're going to work a little bit on our back, the upper part of the back more specifically. If you have a pair, use that. If you have a block, use it. Otherwise, use one, that's fine too. And the position you want this to be, this is easier to show, is that the ball is pressing on either side of the spine. So not right in the middle, but either side. And it's quite high up where your bra strap is and towards the top. And the lower down it goes, it doesn't really do as much as what we want it to do right now. So place it quite high up and you're gonna lie down onto it. And instead of rocking up and down, hug your hands behind the skull and drop your head back without opening the elbows. Keep your elbows close towards your face. That helps open space for your shoulder blade. And we're just gonna turn up and down. Noticing if you can breathe here. When you feel that the place you have massaged feels quite good, move the ball a little further down or your body a little further up. Or the other way around, ball further up into your upper back, your body further down, rather. And for some of us, this feels very light. It doesn't do anything. You can keep your knees bent and lift your hips while still doing the same thing, a little bit less restful, a bit stronger, that feeling in your back. And continue on until you've gone through the whole upper portion of your back. Noticing you always have the option to pause, breathe, and allow the body to soften before you keep on moving. In fact, I insist that you do that instead of holding your tension, holding your pain and suffering in silence. And from here, when you're done with it, roll to the side. And lie onto your stomach. Just a little moment here to feel the space in your back body. Maybe even noticing how sometimes this affects further up into the skin of your head, your scalp, or further down into your lower back, your hips, back of the thighs. I can certainly feel my scalp right now. And now, a little bit more massaging. Get your ball or balls, and you're going to place it as you're lying down onto the front of your hips. And it's a very delicate place, so grab your hand onto your hip bone, the little pokey one on the side, and you want the ball to be just on the inner side of it. This is a rather long piece of muscle, so it can be further up, it can be further down, but it shouldn't feel as though you're being pinched or that you're getting dizzy when you do this, right? Mine is very, very sore these days, so I'm gonna let my body rest onto it and forehead down onto my hands. Imagine this ball is just being eaten by your stomach, your front body. And feel your hips becoming heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier. Notice when the feeling of softness comes when your body is starting to go, okay, I accept this now. Then you have the choice to move, bending at that knee, and just very lightly moving your leg from side to side, in and out. It feels like the ball is gliding across this muscle. If this feels quite light, your ball is a bit soft, you need more, you're welcome to come up, maybe resting onto your elbows, making sure your shoulder is not hunching, lifting, but draw it down away from the face. And always taking the option of pausing and stopping and breathing as you need it. And when you're ready, rolling off, and staying onto your elbows or coming onto your elbows. Now from here, bring your left hand towards the right, press down to lift your chest. Your left back of the foot press down, squeeze your butt. And we're gonna bring this right hand to grab your foot. And as you're grabbing it, don't let your butt stick out. Press your butt cheek down and draw your stomach in. And from here, maybe you just very lightly push this foot down towards the outer side of your bum. And I like to add traction when we do these things. So as you're pulling it down, push your foot upwards into your hand at the same time. So you feel like you're fighting yourself, you're resisting. And play with the amount of resistance. So push up a little bit more for about 2 breaths. Releasing, letting your hand grab it down further. Do it one more time, pushing against the hand. Staying low with the foot still. And maybe letting it go a little further down again. And that helps to trick our nervous system to Let us go a little deeper. And as in any classes, if you feel your knee in these positions, you must skip it. Now let go. And the opposite side, ball onto the left side of your hip flexor, inner side of your hip bones. Finding a spot where you feel a familiar sort of muscle massaging soreness instead of a dizziness, a strong discomfort. Resting onto it first. Stage 1, forehead down, leg down. Mine is not sore on this side. Notice if yours is also different. Stage 2, maybe bending at that knee. Just moving this leg from side to side, perhaps gliding. Stage 3, coming onto your elbow, perhaps if you want it more. Still keeping your neck free, shoulders away from the face. And stage everyone, breathe a lot in your stomach. Once again, roll off, removing it. Coming onto your elbows and right hand coming close to the left. Press down to lift the chest. And reach and grab the foot. Press your right toes down, hug your inner thighs towards one another. And slowly begin to push this foot down towards your bum, maybe the outer side of the bum. And we're still just very lightly hugging your inner thigh energetically towards one another. And playing with the resistance. If it feels good, push upwards into your hands, just a touch with your foot. Releasing it, letting it go further. Push upwards. Releasing, letting go further. I'm just going to stay here for a few more. If you feel your lower back in this type of position, option to walk your arms a little further forward. An option to draw your belly, lift your belly off of the floor. We're trying to bias the front of the thigh and a little bit in the hip flexor instead of the back body. And releasing. And letting yourself rest for a second, just to feel that foot, the leg, the thigh. And from here, press down and come up on your hands and your knees. And indeed, we're going to face the bum towards the chair. And I think having a little bit of support is a really, really nice thing. So maybe you can get another chair if that works. Now from here, I'm going to place, bending your right knee, placing it close to the leg of the chair. And the opposite one. I'm going to bend this right knee and bring it close to the leg of the chair. The opposite one coming between your hands. And from here, press your foot into the chair and lean back for a moment, and attempting to sit tall. And instead of letting your butt stick back, notice the difference between if you draw your tailbone between your legs forward and up into your stomach. It feels as though you're trying to squeeze your butt. It feels as though you're trying to flatten your lower back. And just two more right here. It's very warm. And keep that as you're slowly sinking your hips forward. And you're trying to keep your legs about hip width apart, so don't allow your hips to just spray out. Hug your legs towards one another. And maybe even pull the mat forward just a touch with your right knee. And I once again like to just think about lifting the tailbone forward and up so your stomach really draw up. Maybe even imagine you're trying to lift away from the front thigh. And 2 more breaths right here. And slowly releasing. Bring both of your knees down, coming onto your hands and your knees for a second. And then we'll switch. Your left knee down against the root of the chair, stepping your right foot forward. Press your foot against the chair to stabilize. And coming up. You're pressing your right foot forward and down the whole foot, and your buttock closer towards the heel. Instead of sticking your butt back, once again, lift and draw your stomach in. Maybe even thinking about the pokey part of your hip away from the thigh. And I find that using my hands to help me really mix the point and help me to find the openness. And still hugging your inner thigh just lightly towards one another. Notice that changes the dynamic. One more. And slowly sinking your hips forward. Noticing if your knee is coming far forward of your foot, step forward more so you can indeed press the heels firmly down. Hug your inner thighs towards one another. And once again, left knee, grab the mat and draw it forward just a touch. Maybe even lean back, stomach away from the thigh. Last one. And slowly releasing. Hands down, stepping both of your knees down. All fours for a second. Oof. That was nice. And staying on your hands and your knees. As you inhale, dropping your stomach, lift your tail, lift your head. And instead of letting your shoulders slouch, draw your shoulders back and down, lift your neck longer. Maybe even begin to open up your throat. And the opposite side. Head down, tail down, stomach in. And just one more. Now we've opened up the armpits a little bit. We've opened up the front body a little bit. So we're going to work on just accessing the upper back muscle. Making sure your all fours is kind of in a square position, shoulder just on top of the wrist. Spread your fingers wide. That gives you more stability, less strain in the wrist. Press the webbings, gaps of your fingers down. And from here, bring your right hand towards the face, bend the elbows. Stuff your belly in and slowly begin to peel your chest open. Lift the elbow up. And as high up as you lift it, I'm going to show you on the other side. Think about squeezing the back of your shoulder blade together. So you feel your upper back starting to grab towards one another. If you feel your back at all, or your lower back at all, draw your stomach in and draw your pelvic floor. Imagine you need to pee. And slowly pointing it out to the side. Just way down. Lifting up, squeeze your upper back. Pointing out. We're just going to do 5 more. And we're trying to bias this mainly in the upper back. So keeping your hips, your lower body as stable as you can. Just one more, I think. And slowly releasing your hands back down. Take a moment to register what part of the body has you used just now. Opposite side, shoulder above the wrist. left elbow bend, hands to the face. And you can play with, as you're starting to turn, how far back your hand is. It can be behind the head, behind the neck, or even further down into the back of your shoulder. I personally like it out, just on the side of the face. But the point is to feel that muscle just in your upper back, the space between your shoulder blades. So whichever variation allows you to do that, that's a great variation. And every time you lift, really squeeze your back body, squeeze your shoulder blade towards one another. And just 2 more. And slowly releasing. And this time sit onto your feet. If this doesn't work, sit in a different place, right? And bring your hands hugging in front of your stomach. From here, roll your shoulder up, squeeze your shoulder blade behind you together, and elbows towards behind you together. And we're trying to access that back muscle that you just move and we have massage with the upper back before. And from here, push your stomach into your hands and begin to lean your pelvis forward, lifting your chin super high. Maybe even slowly pressing. Imagine you're trying to shorten the space between the back of your head towards your bum. And keep squeezing your elbows towards one another, and drawing your elbows back. And slowly returning. And just do 3 more like that. Last one. And slowly returning. And releasing your back, letting it round and move and wiggle. Just a moment. And once again, find your block and your ball or balls and lie onto the side this time. You can start with the right side, but I'm going to start with the left so you can see. We're trying to use the ball to find your jaw muscles. And you know where it is when you open your mouth slightly and dig your fingers into the corner of your face and just move your mouth a little. It should feel like a soreness when you press deep into this muscle. And that's where you want this ball to be. You're pressing it right into the jaw muscles. And open your mouth just lightly. Very gentle. Take a moment just to get used to this, to accept this. And I like to open and close my mouth, stretching the muscle a little bit more. Some of us like to rock and move and turn the head. So you're moving, easing off and in it. And now bring this ball a little further up to the temple. So the space just on the hairline outside of your eyebrows. And it's a quite big area. It can be further towards on top of your ear. So play with it. Place the ball there and give it a little rock and roll. And just noticing how, if you're sore, staying still every time you feel challenge in your breathing. These nerve endings, these areas have a interface to our vagus nerve, which is the nerve that's instrumental to our parasympathetic nervous system, the relaxation, rest, and restore system. So doing these little maintenance really help the body to relax and restore. When you've had enough, release the ball and just rest your head for a moment. Notice how it feels. Ooh. And you're gonna just keep the block underneath the head and turn and lie onto it with your head. And we're going to move it a little further down. So when you put the ball on the base of your skull, it won't fall. Your ball is going on either side of the base of your skull. When you grab your head onto the base of your skull, find that little dip hits. It's not right in the middle of the spine, but on either side. And it feels a little sore. And just very soft turn in the head from side to side. You can still do this if you have one ball. It's the same thing. You just tilt your head a little bit to the side. Once again, noticing where else in your face, your body, can you feel this? I can feel it in my forehead, my scalp, my eyebrows. I'm going to move to the right side a little bit more, so turning your face slightly more to the right as you're massaging the top of your neck, but towards the right side more. Or if you have one ball, moving it to the right side of the neck. It can be a turning movement, it can be chin up and down, it can be just being still. And when you have enough, if you have enough, roll either side of your face into the block. And this ball coming into the jaw once again. Open it, finding it. Moment to accept. Before you move, maybe stretching your jaw open completely, closing. Maybe rocking forward and back, up and down. Every time you perceive pain, that you feel like things are starting to hold, stay still and focus on the breathing. If you have enough, bring it further up into your temple, the other side of your eyebrow. Turn, roll, rotate. Ooh. When you're ready, removing everything. And you still have the chair. And it's a really wonderful idea to use your chair for your Shavasana. Sitting close and placing your shin, your feet onto the chair. Making any adjustments. Maybe even giving your head a soft turn just from side to side. When you feel ready, find center, find softness, your arms resting completely down. Your legs heavy, your hips pressing heavy to the floor. Notice any residual sensation from the pressure, the massage you just did. Maybe you can feel it in the jaw, the temple. Can you attempt to release the skin in your forehead, eyebrows? Can you release the tension in your base of the skull, letting your head just release, rebound to whatever shape it has to be? Notice the softness in the back of the neck, your upper back. Notice the softness in your stomach, your pelvic floor. Allowing your body to melt and melt and melt into a puddle. We are in no hurry. Stay if you needed a bit more time. Otherwise, begin to deepen the breath. Movement in your fingers, toes, hands, and feet. Bring your knees into your chest and just giving a little soft squeeze. And rolling off to one side. And a soft press up. And sitting facing the chair for a moment. Maybe even rest your arms, your head onto the chair. Really tasting, drinking in the stillness, the space in your body right now. And if you're ready, come and sit tall, leaning back lightly, like you're sitting in the back of a chair. And if you want to, you can do it with me, palms together in front of the chest. Hands in front of the forehead to remind us of clear and loving thoughts. Hands in front of the heart to remind us of clear and loving intentions. Hands in front of the mouth to remind us of clear and loving communications. Bring the hands back in front of the chest, lift the chest. And softly bow the head. Thank you for practicing.